So 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony was found guilty today of murder, accused of killing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf as the two attended a track meet between schools in Frisco, Texas last year. Now, Anthony was a student at Centennial High and Austin was a student at Memorial High at the time. The initial reports came out that Carmelo was just sitting in the tent in the bleachers, minding his business, when students from Memorial High, including Austin, approached him about sitting in the tent that was supposed to be reserved for them. Some words got exchanged. Reports came out that Anthony said, "You guys touch me, you're gonna find out." They're saying Austin shoved Anthony, who had his hand in his book bag, and that's when he pulled out the knife and stabbed Austin. He got up out of there. He didn't run. He basically stayed afterwards and kind of surrendered himself to authorities. And that's when he was taken into custody. But during this trial, the trial only lasted 8 days, only took the jury 2.5 hours to deliberate on the verdict. And usually when they deliberate and it's that fast, it's pretty much a slam dunk type of case. That's usually what they say. And sure enough, he was found guilty of murder. And tensions was very high outside of the courtroom. A lot of racial tension. I mean, this case has been going on, a very high profile case for over a year. Initially, when Anthony was arrested, there was a crowdfunding raised for his bond, and there was people criticizing where some of the money may have gone to his parents and things of that nature. I'm not really going to get into all that, but this case has been ongoing for a while, and it has divided a lot of people. And let's actually just take a look at what the local news reports are reporting, what happened at the courthouse today.
The jury only deliberated for 2.5 hours in this case, and we went back inside so quickly. There was obviously a lot of tension inside that courtroom because of the hostility we've seen building over the last year on both sides. I remember when I saw Carmelo Anthony enter the courtroom, his lead defense attorney, Mike Howard, had his arm around him. His forehead was on Carmelo's forehead. They were in quiet conversation. It looked like that Howard was trying to console or to prepare Carmelo for what's to come, like he knew it would not be a good outcome with the jury coming back so quickly. The courtroom filled up. The judge announced that the jury had a verdict. The jury came in. Nobody on the jury that I could see looked at the defendant when they walked in. They sat down. The judge was handed the verdict. He read, of course, guilty of first-degree murder. At that point, we looked around the room for reaction. I didn't see any reaction from the jurors. Carmelo Anthony, who I was looking at, he stood with his head partially down, his eyes closed very tightly. You could see the wrinkles on the side of his forehead. He was obviously in some kind of agony internally hearing this news. His mother, who was on the front row behind him, leaned against the railing and put her head down. We didn't hear any emotion from Carmelo Anthony, but within just a few seconds after the verdict was read, you could hear him sobbing out loud in a very quiet courtroom. It was an interesting experience to be in there. The Metcalf family, which was told by the prosecutors not to show any emotion, did just that. They were pretty stoic when this verdict came down. At that point, the judge very matter-of-factly said to the defendant, Carmelo Anthony, that your bond, you've been the whole time, more than a year, has been extinguished, and you are now remanded to the custody of the Collin County Sheriff's Office.
So as you heard, it didn't really take the jury long to come back with a verdict. 2.5 hours. They came back into the courtroom. Didn't even look Carmelo's way. Didn't even look his way, which is a clear sign that you're probably cooked. They found him guilty of first-degree murder. The defense was actually hoping that he would be tried on manslaughter, which would have been, a much lighter sentence that he would be looking at. But unfortunately, he got tried for murder, found guilty of murder. And, his defense team today only called one witness to the stand, and that was his mother, Carla Hayes. And they pretty much just asked her, like, do you love your son? And of course, what any mom would say, right or wrong, whatever type of situation that you're in. She broke down and said, of course, I love my son. He's the oldest. I'll always love my son. He's my baby. And of course, the prosecution team got a chance to cross-examine her, and they only asked her one question. And the question was, ma'am, can you still be with your son, right? And, basically implying that, he's still alive. She could still speak to him every day, visit him while he's potentially going to be spending the rest of his life in prison, but he's still breathing. And Austin's mom can no longer speak to her son. She can no longer touch him. She can no longer hold him. So I'm pretty sure, that played a role in the jury's decision. And, unfortunately, he's facing 5 to 99 years behind bars. At 19 years old, you can't imagine like what's going through his mind right now. They said that he was kind of like sobbing in the courtroom. A 19-year-old, knowing you facing that amount of time, how could you keep your composure? And as you can guess, it was pretty wild outside of the courtroom today. I ain't gonna front. It was wild out there. Matter of fact, let's watch some videos of some of the things that was taking place outside of the courtroom.
It will be the same jury in this Texas jury in McKinney, Texas, who will decide the sentencing for Carmelo Anthony. He could get life in prison for this murder charge in the death of Austin Metcalf, whose death he has just been convicted of. So there is a whole nother part of this process.
Carmelo! What's his name? Carmelo! Carmelo! What's his name? Carmelo! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? What do we want? Justice! What do we want? What do we want? Justice! What do we want? What do we want? Justice!
The judge as well in this case said it was not a case about race, but you cannot deny that just the facts of the case and what we've seen play out since then and what we're watch happening now is because the defendant is black, the victim is white, and that's the bottom line. But again, this is what
What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for words. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
We gotta get out of the road.
Let's get out of the road, please. Get out of the road, please.
You still a cracker. You still a cracker. You a cracker, motherfucker. You a cracker. You a cracker. He a cracker. You a cracker.
The gig is up. The gig is up.
If you got jumped on 4 people, what would you do? Would you defend yourself? Would you defend yourself? If 4 people was attacking you, what would you do? What would you do? Would you defend yourself? I want to know.
You're acting like an animal. You're acting like an animal.
She ain't acting like an animal. She acting like a human being. She's acting like a human being. Stop saying that shit. You don't look like an animal. You look like an animal. You know you have a name. How y'all feel now? How y'all feel? His brother didn't get rescued.
So as you can see, the racial tension right now in Texas is at an all-time high. And there's always been somewhat of divide in Texas because, let's be clear, there's always been that element out there. But I think this case has kind of really stirred the pot a little bit. Even online on social media, the racial tension, you can cut it with a knife because you just had that Asian father and son in South Carolina who was just found not guilty of gunning down, the young boy who ran out of their store. And, it's just a lot going on right now. It's a black cloud over this country. The history of racism in this country, has always, been a thing, and it's become more prevalent nowadays because people are becoming more vocal and less afraid to, hide how they feel about certain communities. And, I'm not really going to do a deep dive on this whole case because there's already plenty of videos out there. There's already been plenty of think pieces, so I'm basically just reporting on what occurred today. Hopefully both families can, be able to heal from this situation. I know it's going to take a long time. Carmelo's family, surprisingly, when this whole case first came out, they said that it's not about race. So they condemned that off the bat. But, yeah, man, I just hope that, one day, people can find a common ground in this country. You know, when that may ever happen, I may be long gone. You and I may be long gone. That may never happen at all. You know, it might always be just, you know, that divide within this country, unfortunately. Ultimately, man, there are no winners in this situation. The Metcalf family, they'll never get their son back. Carmelo gonna spend probably the rest of his life in prison. Will never get to live his life as an adult in the free world. And to the parents out there, man, make sure you are doing your absolute best every day to make sure that your kids are not reacting off emotion. They are thinking logically, and their ultimate goal every day when they leave the house is to make sure that they make it back home in one piece. Because all it takes is a split second to lose your life or to throw it away. That's all it takes. So y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think, man. Do y'all think that he was wrongfully convicted? Do y'all think that justice was served? Y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share all the videos. I appreciate everyone that's been rocking with me, man. Continue to show me love. I'm always going to show love whenever y'all see me, man. It's all love, man. Till next time, man.